What you got, Dame?
Can we get back to business?
Yes, let's get back to business.
All right. So, like I was saying before I was interrupted, if you are a Floridian, or if you are considering Florida's governor as your potential national leader, you need to hear this. Because Florida is being engulfed with fascist bills. And if you don't know what fascism is, it's a political system based on a very powerful leader, state control of social economic life, and extreme political disagreement allowed. Policies and laws are often anti-democratic. They're they are extreme nationalists. They stifle dissent and protest, create scapegoats like the LGBTQ plus community and the woke, stripping rights from citizens, rejecting modern views, banning books, education, and free speech, increased militarism of policing, contempt for free and fair elections, and creating social hierarchies. So,
Don't most Republicans check all those boxes? But Ron DeSantis in particular, he really checks them.
yeah. Uh, um, yeah, I don't know. A lot of those boxes, yes. Yes, I would say that. Anyhow, if that is the type of environment you'd like to live in, then you
Come
probably
on
would
down to Florida.
come on down to Florida. Yeah. So let's get started. We're gonna list the bills that have been presented and have passed or will pass this year.
Before you start, I want to say to the people that are listening, no, I want to say to the people that are listening to not skip this part, because even though it might sound tedious or boring or long or non entertaining, is super, super, super important for us.
I would
And
agree.
this is why we are in this one hole.
I've done my best to compact it and minimalize it so it's not overwhelming and it's just straight to the fucking point.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Starting with HB 547. Sorry, HB 543 allows people to carry concealed loaded guns without permit, training, or background checks. SB 214 bans credit card companies from applying a code to purchases of guns and ammo. These codes are meant to help track suspicious weapon purchases, and companies will now be banned companies will now be fined $10,000 per infraction. SB 300 bans abortion after 6 weeks, which is before many people even know they're pregnant. It also creates barriers to access for those seeking exceptions to the ban. Currently, this is being reviewed by the state Supreme Court. SB 450 reduced the number of jurors needed to recommend the death sentence, going from a unanimous 12 out of 12 jurors down to 8 out of 12, which now makes Florida the lowest state with the lowest threshold for the death penalty in the entire United States. SB 450 reduced I'm sorry, I just did that one. SB 266 bans colleges and universities from spending state or federal funding to promote, support, or maintain programs or campus activities that advocate diversity, equality, and inclusion. Let that one sink in. SB 1580. This bill permits medical providers the right to refuse treatment to LGBTQ plus patients on ethical, religious, or moral grounds. Doctors, nurses, pharmacists, hospital admins, insurance companies, and whoever else has the right to deny you care, life-saving or otherwise, based on their conscious objection with this bill. SB 1718. This bill criminalizes Floridians who shelter, support, and provide transportation to undocumented immigrants. And just to put that a little simpler, by providing transportation is just could be giving a ride to a friend, someone you barely know. You can be found guilty of a felony.
I wonder how about if you're an Uber driver?
It's a great question. SB 256 puts an end to automatic union due payments, requiring government employees and teachers to now write monthly checks if they want to stay in the union. It also requires the unions to recertify if their membership drops below 60%. So basically, creating an opportunity for people to forget about making their payments, dropping the monthly participation, and then could cause the union to go away altogether because that Florida doesn't want unions. SB 1616 allows Governor DeSantis to hide his travel records, past and future. SB 252 prohibits businesses, educational institutions, and government agencies to require people take a COVID test, provide proof of vaccination, or require to wear a mask to enter the facilities. SB 254 allows state court systems to remove transgender minors from their families if they're receiving gender-affirming care.
Yeah, I think that's a newer one, right? Yeah.
HB 1521 bans individuals from using public restrooms that do not correspond with the sex assigned at birth. And SB 7050 imposes restrictions on voter registration organizations, which will obviously detrimentally impact registration numbers because lower registration, lower voter turnout tends to benefit Republicans. I don't like it here.
Yeah. Yep. And not to mention his stunt with the immigrants and just some of the statements that he's made and the influence that he has. God, he's awful. I don't understand how he won.
Well, he won because we didn't show up to vote.
Yeah. He won because we didn't show up to vote, and he also won because a lot of people don't know about these laws.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Republicans constantly talk about the same things. A lot of them don't take action on some of these things. It's just usually red meat for their base. But he's actually taken action on a lot of this stuff. Same thing Donald Trump did. And
this is all this year. So this is a clearly he's setting his presidential agenda. But imposing it in Floridians. But he's getting a lot of pushback. The mayor of Miami, who is a Republican, is up in arms about this going back and forth with Disney. There are sheriffs who are not happy about this the concealed carry bill. There are, Julie and I, we were talking about this yesterday, the day before. They're Hispanic truck drivers, which make up 20% of the truck drivers, are supposedly planning to ban Florida, not bring any truckloads into Florida. They're looking for basically to boycott Florida and products that are of Florida. But
Disney canceled a plan. They were building something that was going to be like $1 billion that was going to give like a bunch of people jobs, all averaging like 100,000 a year or whatever. And they've decided to pull away from that because of DeSantis and his policies.
Well, to be specific, the project was going to cost $1 billion, which obviously the taxes would have benefited the state. Disney was also planning to move 2,000 employees from California to Florida. So that's 2,000 homes that could have been sold. That's taxes off of the revenue, sales. Yeah, but they scrapped that whole project.
And then what was it? The Jacksonville, that mayoral race or whatever. DeSantis's
the person he supported
lost.
Right.
You know,
and the person Trump supported won.
Yeah. So you know, it just continues to show that his popularity is decreasing in the state.
Is dwindling. I mean, when you got the former Vice President Pence talking about you, and he doesn't say shit about anybody.
Yeah.
So
so
DeSantis, I mean, for the country, it sounds like y'all are in good shape, but we still got to deal with this shit for another 3 years.
Well, if he runs,
didn't he announce he was running?
Not yet.
It's supposed to happen, I think, this week coming.
It's going to be in June.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe we can get someone else in there. Maybe the state will wake up a little bit, but I don't know.
Get somebody else in where?
During the next election?
In 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But
if he runs and he's a nominee, I think he has to give it up, right?
No, they did. That's we didn't cover that in this list of bills, but they just passed a bill that used to be the law in Florida that you could not apply for 2 government jobs that overlapped. They just changed that law a week or 2 ago.
He changed it, right?
Right.
Or they changed it on his behalf. Yeah.
A week, like maybe 2 weeks ago, they changed that law that will allow him to apply for the job. So if he doesn't win the presidential
I didn't think
election,
that was final or like totally
he can come back
yet.
It's state house. He just has to sign it. All of these, it's just waiting his signature. Fucking Floridians. I hope it's a wake-up call. I mean, seriously, like a lot of this shit is bad, but some of these are really bad. Like really bad. This thing, his attack on the immigrants, I mean, he's not a dumb guy. Like, either his plan is to just blow Florida up, or maybe he just really is this dumb, because this does not seem like this was thought through. Like the amount of the prices we're about to pay for our vegetables, our roofs, our houses, like
maybe
who's gonna
do you think this has anything to do with his intelligence? This is just sheer wickedness in my mind.
Or maybe that
right, but people have to vote for
maybe
him,
he
right?
thinks he's gonna get that catapult that Trump had when he was being hateful and racist and, calling, Mexicans rapists and Muslims terrorists, and people were like, yeah. Maybe he thinks that he can, get something like that.
The one thing that Republicans
he has a lot of support. He has a lot of support because there are a lot of people on the right who feel this way. The things that he's passing is shit that they run on. Like this isn't a surprise.
A lot of it, but the one thing that Republicans always hang their hat on is being pro-business, and he is on the path of destroying.
Yeah, and consistently they shit all over our economy. They're pro-business, ideas or whatever. Well, look, they're pro paychecks. As long as it's lining their pockets, they don't care about business.
Well, a lot of them are the business owners, and then they're the ones who give the kickbacks and shit like that. I'm not saying it's a beneficial thing. I'm just saying that's always their focus, is to support the businesses and this whole trickle down bullshit. But he is trying to torch one of the largest business in the state. And then when you make this attack on the immigrants, that's going to impact.
I mean, he's targeting the biggest two things: immigration and Disney. I mean, without either, tourism, I don't know what kind of
immigration and tourism.
I don't know without either what the state will do.
I would say agriculture and tourism, which are our two biggest producers for revenue in the state. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think any of us are going to enjoy it, but it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
and like you said, there's 3 more years.
2 or 3 years ago, like if you needed to get your roof done, if you needed to replace your roof, it was like $10,000, which is a lot, but it was 10. Like now, it's like 18,000 today.
And we already have a housing crisis in the state.
Yeah.
So now imagine when now there's only 5 companies that do roofs because everyone else can't get employees. Now, how much is it going to cost you to get your roof done?
Yeah, but how many people who are out there? I mean, look, I know what some of the polls say or whatever, but he must be getting some indication that he's becoming wildly popular among certain constituents because he's going to run for president. Maybe it's because he's, so much national news and maybe that's skewed or whatever. Maybe he lives in a bubble, right? But
maybe he lives in a bubble and he thinks that all Florida is like the rest of the country. And,
I think if
I've heard them.
I think if what you're saying was the case, and if he was that confident in it, he wouldn't have needed to make a bill to secure his job in Florida.
No, he wants a backup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's because of lack of confidence. I really do believe that he thinks he's going to beat Trump.
Bill then?
Just to ensure that he could continue to run the state while he runs for president. Like that, it's pretty obvious.
It's not while he runs for president; it's if he doesn't get elected as president, and he'll.
No, it's also while he's supposed to. He would supposed to run for president. He would also have to give up his current position. Like I think once you get to like a certain point, like he would have to. Would he not?
Once he says I'm running for, you can't apply.
He's supposed to resign.
You can't apply for a job that's going to overlap with your current job. And
right. So he's doing this so he can continue to do what he's doing, regardless of what the outcome is. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean a lack of confidence in winning.
That's just guaranteeing that he's going to get to rule something, whether in the White House or in the state.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it the way you're looking at it. The way Patricia and I are looking at it, it's continue to have power. Like, that's all that is.
Not that I'm going to take my chance, but, most likely I won't get it, so I'm going to come back.
That's how I see it.
Huh. Regardless, the results are the same. He still gets to run Florida. Like,
well, he wouldn't if he ran for president. His term would be over, and then we would have to vote for a new president, for a new governor.
If that didn't pass. It's not how it is currently now.
That's how it's been in Florida, is what I'm saying.
But that's not how it is now.
As of the last 2 weeks, no.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
What
are we disagreeing on?
That's what I'm saying.
You guys lost me.
What are we disagreeing on?
Like, talk about? I don't know.
Like,
Go ahead.
Julian, you're saying that. No, Damien, what you're saying is that if he becomes president, no, Julian, you're saying that if he becomes president, then he will not rule Florida because he's the president. Is that, I'm lost.
No, all I'm saying is that I do not believe that he passed this because he's not confident of winning.
No, I agree. I agree with you there.
That's where I disagree.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to look at it.
What? There's no other point. There's no other purpose of it.
Just guarantee that he's going to get his job back.
Guarantee, right?
He's changing the law so he could get his job back if he doesn't win.
Right. That's like taking a 2-week vacation when you find another job, taking a 2-week vacation just to see if you like the job before you give your 2-week notice. Like it doesn't necessarily
as fuck.
But it doesn't necessarily mean you're not confident. Like, obviously it's
You're not putting
easy
all your eggs in one basket.
there you go. It's just a security measure. It's not
Confidence measure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you have to go as far as changing a state law
Because
that
he
has been in place
can.
for decades,
Right.
but
That's all it is. Look at all
Because
this
he can.
all this bullshit that he keeps doing now, going after Disney and everything. Like you think he's shy about any of this shit? No, he doesn't care. And neither do his followers.
They're gonna care
Or
when they
his
want that
supporters.
tomato.
Yeah. I'm telling you, a lot of people are like, "Oh, let the economy, crash. Get these immigrants out of here." Like that really is the attitude from a lot of these people. They don't give a shit about the economy. They don't give a shit about gay people. They don't give a fuck about Disney. Like they will watch the whole shit blow up just so they can say they got the libs. That's what they are. That's what they do. It's what you call it? What's the expression? Cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he went a bit too far. I think he cut off more than his nose. Maybe he only intended to.
Maybe he has another set of holes that we just don't see. But
if you cut off your nose, how many holes do you have?
Well, you go from 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, we're getting into silly season, but yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yes.
Indeed.
Piece of shit DeSantis.
That should be his slogan.